stars, this is Gwendolyn. This is going to be a video on this new moon in Gemini that's happening on May 25th at 12:44 p.m. West Coast time, Pacific Daylight Time, and 3:44 East Coast time or Eastern Daylight Time. And there's some fun things going on with it. I'm calling this new moon in Gemini a new way of thinking, because that's a theme for Gemini. Gemini is about thoughts, communication, ideas, socializing. And when we get a new moon, it's a time for a new beginning in that area. So there's a lot of new ways of thinking. And what's going on with this new moon in Gemini, the moon isn't making any aspects to other planets, but there's a outlying, there's some other things going on between some of the other planets. So I'm just going to talk about those quickly, and then I'll get into what the new moon in Gemini means for each sign. So there's two main things that are going on. There's a trine that's happening between Uranus in Aries, the North Node in Leo, and Saturn in Sagittarius. And trines mean that the energies are working together. Things are flowing smoothly. Things are beneficial. Things are easier. It's sort of like greasing the wheels. So Saturn in Sag is like the great teacher. That Saturn is establishment, convention, things going according to a traditional, planned, charted, responsible way. That's Saturn energy. And in Sagittarius, which is the sign of higher learning, this is like the establishment, the teacher, the person with the knowledge, the person who has the wisdom and the experience. So it's sort of like the elder. And with that trining, Uranus and Aries in the first house, Uranus is the revolutionary. It's like the student who's got the new idea, the old science, represented by Saturn in the ninth of the higher learning, the accumulated knowledge. Uranus is the revolutionary who has the new idea, the new self. I'm going to do things different. I'm going to do things in a new way. I'm going to bring this new idea that revolutionizes everything. Prometheus was a great example of the rebel, the Uranus-led person. He brought fire to humanity and he changed the game. So Uranus in the first house, which is the house of the self, it's saying, I am the revolutionary. I am the person with the new idea. And those two are actually working together, believe it or not. It's almost the image of a mentor pushing out the initiate into the world, saying, you're ready. I've given you all the wisdom and the knowledge that I have collected, and you, the young one with the new idea, Aries, the warrior out front, and it's the planet of the revolutionary. It's like saying, go forth, do it. And they're also trining this North Node in Leo, which is the North Node is where we're going, where we're headed, and this is a very creative sign. Leo is about shining forth your brightness, shining forth, the sun, the solar plexus, the creative vision, the actor on stage. So it's sort of like the teacher and the student are working together towards this sunny vision, towards this creative expression, towards, Leo represents the fifth house. So that's love, romance, children, play. It's almost just like this vibrancy that the old way, the old regime, and the new individualized self are working together to get there. So that's the trine that's happening in the background between Saturn, Uranus, and North Node, all in fire. And then a couple other things are going on. We still have that Pluto squaring both Venus and basically in square with Jupiter. That's been going on for a while. When we have that kind of thing happening, Pluto, it's interesting that Venus is involved in both of these. When Venus is opposing Jupiter, it can mean that things related to love, sex, money, any of pleasure, any of that can be done to excess. So watch out for that. It means that you want to give, but you may take on more than you can. It means that any, love may go overboard. It means that you may overspend. It's any sort of excess in terms of love, sex, money, assets, pleasure, all that. Jupiter makes things bigger. Venus represents all those pleasure-based things or assets, love, sex, money. And then Pluto in a square to Venus brings out power plays in terms of love, or, any of those things that I just mentioned: finances, pleasure, love, sex, any of those things. You can get caught up in the shadow aspect of that. So watch out for people that you're choosing as love partners that you're really engaging in ego battles with, or power plays that can happen with Pluto energy, because it brings up the shadow aspect. It brings out power plays. It's got that volcano energy. So Pluto in a square with Venus is saying, watch out for ego battles. Watch out. I'm going to say watch out for going overboard in terms of love, or choosing partners who are really representing your shadow side, and it's making things blow up, because Venus is in a hard aspect to both Pluto and Jupiter, some bigger outer planets. So try to rein it in with anything related to love, sex, money, finances. Try to just maybe take a break, and don't throw gas on the fire in that area, is what I'm going to say for that. And then we've got Chiron in Pisces that is also square to Saturn in Sag. So that's kind of like, learning from past mistakes. Saturn is that teacher, the great teacher in the house of higher learning, and Chiron is the wounded healer in sensitive Pisces. So it's sort of saying that, there may be some learning that's hard from old mistakes, from old knowledge. You usually accumulate knowledge and wisdom through experience. So Saturn in Sag is saying, I've been around the block a couple times. I've seen this. I know what I'm talking about. I know the knowledge that's there. But Chiron is kind of pushing back and saying, maybe this is a wound for me. Maybe this is something I'm still trying to heal from. I can know it, Saturn in Sag, but that doesn't necessarily mean I've mastered it. It might be something you're healing with, or it's something that is still a wound. So that's a square aspect between Saturn and Chiron. But mostly, with that exception, with what's going on with Venus and love going overboard, mostly there is this drive of going forward, pushing forward towards our destiny, towards where we're headed. And it really is the teacher sort of pushing the student out. I'm almost getting vibes from Karate Kid, where the master, Saturn and Sag, is Mr. Miyagi, and has imparted all of the knowledge into the new student, the revolutionary, and the new person who has the new way. The new kid on the block, and Uranus and Aries in the first house saying, I'm going to go out on my own. I'm going to be the warrior. I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to confront everything. And it's really the two of them working together to achieve a higher goal. And it pulls both of them forward. That's what North Node is. That's where we're headed. It's a creative, sunny, golden, on the stage kind of moment. So that's really the background of what's happening for this new moon in Gemini. And because new moon in Gemini means new thoughts, new ideas, it's a new way of thinking about something. It's a new way of communicating about something. It's a new way of interacting with others regarding something. So I'm going to go through where this new moon in Gemini happens for each sign. And keep in mind that when you're watching this, it may represent that you're going to have a new way of thinking about wherever this new moon falls for you. So it could be a new way of thinking about whatever house this falls in for you. So I'm going to go through that now, and I'm going to begin with Gemini. So bear with me while I start the video on that. Okay, so new moon in Gemini. This new moon in Gemini is happening for you, Gemini, in your first house of self. So what this self and identity. So what this means is that you may develop a new way of thinking about yourself, a new way of thinking about your identity, a new way of communicating yourself, and a new way of communicating your identity. The new moon is like planting seeds that you can watch grow and nurture them over the next 6 months. And by the time we get that full moon in Gemini 6 months from now, you may see a new you emerging, especially the new ideas about yourself that you're planting now. That's what this new moon in Gemini is really, really featuring for you. It can be a new way of communicating. It can be a new way of thinking about yourself, a new way of socializing, all those Gemini themes, new ideas, new words, new thoughts, mostly is what I'm getting from you, for you. So Gemini, nurture that new you and that new way of thinking about yourself over the course of the next 6 months, and you will see a new you develop. For Cancer, this new moon in Gemini is happening in your 12th house. That's the house of mysticism. It's the house of dreams. It's the house of the unconscious. It's the house of unity, of when everything is one, everything is unified. So new moon in Gemini for you means that you may start, not necessarily at a conscious level, but maybe at an unconscious level, be having new dreams. So pay attention to your dreams there. Pay attention to anything that you're sowing seeds for in terms of spirituality, of mysticism, of things that are in your unconscious. If you're, for example, if any of you are into hypnosis and you're trying to do, if you're trying to either get rid of or begin something new, now is a wonderful time to start a course of hypnosis, because that is 12th house ruled, and it's a new idea that's going into your unconscious or your subconscious. So things related to that, new dreams, new thoughts related to spirituality or mysticism. It's a good time to scratch the surface on any of those themes that you may have been curious about, and then watching that develop and grow over the next 6 months, Cancer. So that's what it is related to for you. New thoughts regarding 12th house themes, mysticism, spirituality, how everything is united, the unconscious, just dream world in general, a new type of dreaming. And what are your dreams? Is there one that's emerging to the surface? Nurture it and water it over the next 6 months, and you may see a dream come to the surface by the time we get that full moon in Gemini. So keep an eye out for that, Cancer. For Leo, this new moon in Gemini is happening in your 11th house of socializing, networks, friendships, humanity, science. So really what I'm getting for you, Leo, it's a new way to think about how you're going to network. A new clan, a new tribe. It's a new group or new network of people that you may be interacting with, a new way of interacting with humanity. You may actually be nurturing a new love for humanity and the way that you interact with the collective. 11th house is the collective. It's the outer, whereas Leo, that's who you normally are. 5th house is the self. It's the creative expression of the self. The 11th house is the whole audience. So it's like having a new audience, a new network, a new demographic perhaps, a new collection of friends and associates. So start planting those seeds, Leo, right here at the end of May during this new moon in Gemini, and watch your new network, your new audience, the new collective, new science develop and emerge over the course of the next 6 months. It's also new technology. So if any of you are implementing new technology, new science, new ideas in the house of genius and ideas, keep that notebook open, Leo, because this is 11th house is normally Aquarian energy, and that's lightning bolt energy. That's the house of genius. And when you've got new ideas, new moon in Gemini happening in your house of genius, I mean, what does that say? New genius ideas. So really, be ready to write down those flashes that you get. For Virgo, this new moon in Gemini is happening in your 10th house of career, status, reputation. So Virgo, this means that you may have some new ideas in terms of your career, in terms of how you do things. It may be bringing new ideas for like a new certificate, a level of training, or something that you do in the outer world, putting another feather in your cap. It's a new idea of what you want to bring to yourself career-wise, or something that you'd like to accomplish. It's a new idea about a mountain that you'd like to climb. That's the Capricorn theme of the 10th house. And new moon in Gemini is that new idea that you want to bring to that house. So Virgo, if you've been having any career aspirations, or if you're getting new ideas, new moon in Gemini, about things you'd like to do in your career or something that you'd like to accomplish, this new moon in Gemini is a good time to plant those seeds, or to begin it and watch it grow and nurture it over the course of the next 6 months. By the full moon in Gemini, you may be able to accomplish that task or see some real progress towards that accomplishment, achievement, any of those Capricorn themes. Some new ideas regarding your work, your career. For Libra, this new moon in Gemini is happening in your 9th house of higher learning. This is also the house of publishing, of travel, of things that are foreign, of philosophy. All of those themes are featured for you. So for you specifically, Libra, if you wanted to start a new course of higher learning, say a college course, or learn something that you've been wanting to study for a while, the house of higher learning, new moon in Gemini, new ideas in the house of higher learning. So it might be a new idea of how you go about learning something, or like a new college that you want to go to, new coursework that you want to begin upon. New moon in Gemini is new ideas. And 9th house is travel, foreign things, philosophy, publishing. If you have a new idea about how you want to publish something or put something out into the world, this is a great time to begin that and nurture that and watch it grow over the course of the next 6 months until we get the full moon in Gemini, and you may see some nice results there. Also, some of you may be having new ideas about travel. So it's a good time to plant those seeds, to begin making those plans and watch them happen over the course of the next 6 months as this new moon in Gemini builds to the full moon in Gemini. What else, Libra? We covered publishing, new philosophy. If you have a new idea, for some of you, you may have a certain outlook on life. And because new ideas are coming into your house of philosophy and thinking and higher learning, higher knowing, for some of you, it may be that you change your outlook on life. You change your philosophy. You change your, reference library of how you think about things. That's very interesting stuff going on there. It's new ideas also in your house of publishing. So you may be putting new ideas out into developing new ideas over the course of the next 6 months that you put out into the world. So all those themes, new lands too, because it's foreign, 9th house. So Libra, if some of you are interested in exploring new lands, new territories, new horizons, there's lots of new ideas available to you during this new moon in Gemini. I'd say get a notebook, a journal, and write down the new places you want to go. The new lands, the new foreign places, the new ideas, the new philosophies, higher learning that you want to begin upon, especially coursework related to higher learning, college level courses or new trainings. That's definitely featured for 9th house, and spirituality as well. If you're looking to study another culture's religion, this is a great time to begin those studies, Libra. So for Scorpio, this new moon in Gemini is happening in your 8th house of the hidden, of mystery, of intrigues, of transformations. Traditionally, this house is the house of sex, death, and taxes. So it's a new thing that's coming up from under the surface. It's a new idea about something that's been mysterious or hidden. If you've been trying to research something, this is a new idea about how to go about finding it. It's a new avenue, a new tack, a new exploration that may have been hidden previously. This is the house of secrets, and Gemini is a house of information. So this is new information regarding a secret, a mystery, something that was hidden, unsolvable. This is like a piece, an opportunity for a new piece of information to come in, or a new avenue to dig under something. It's also a new idea about who to talk to get information about the thing that's been hidden. And it's a new idea on how to regenerate, because Scorpio is represented by not only the scorpion, but also by the phoenix, which is about new life, regeneration. And this is the new idea, the new speaking, new communication, new thoughts about how that generation happens, because that's 8th house, sex, death, and taxes, but also it's also other people's money. So this could be talking about, or new ideas about, like how to get a loan, or somehow drawing money to you. It can be, like I said, new information about something that was hidden, something that was obscured, something that was mysterious. This is a new idea about it. So hopefully that helps you discover something that's sort of buried. It's also a new way of thinking about your sexuality. This is new moon in Gemini's new thinking. And in your 8th house of sex and things that are transformational, you may have new thoughts about this, and new way of thinking of something that may be under the surface for a while, or that has been kept down from your consciousness. New moon in Gemini says, I'm going to start thinking about this. I'm going to start exploring this. I'm going to start asking questions. That's very much Gemini energy. So ask those questions, Scorpio. That's what I'm really getting for you. You may have something revealed over the course of the next 6 months, and especially when that full moon in Gemini comes out, that the answer could especially come out then. Start poking around. For Sagittarius, this new moon in Gemini is a new way of thinking about your relationships, new thoughts, new communications, new ideas regarding your relationships. And that could be either romantic relationships, or it could be friendships, it could be family relationships, anytime you partner with someone, because this 7th house is the house of partnerships. This is a new way of thinking and new ideas about how you form partnerships. So it could be speaking differently about it, a new form of communication that renews a partnership. It could be a new idea of how you even view partnerships, a new idea of who you see as being in your 7th house. There's a lot of newness in just terms of maybe you're looking for a new business partner, or maybe some of you are looking for a romantic partner. This is just renewal in your partnership sector. So this could either be a new romantic partner or a new chapter, a new way of you thinking about partnerships is really what I'm getting. So you may surprise yourself with who you choose to partner with. This may be someone different who you've partnered with in the past. You may be undergoing a business venture and you get several new partners to help you accomplish that. There's going to be a lot of growth in that area over the course of the next 6 months with whatever seeds you sow now. So I'm going to say, talk with others who you may want to partner with. That's new moon in Gemini energy. Speak about it, have new ideas about it, explore, socialize. This is the house of partnership, and you've got new ideas, new communication, new socialization there. So enjoy that new partnership energy, Sagittarius. That's going to be developed. Whatever you sow now will be developing for you over the course of the next 6 months, and you may see some nice results by the time we get that full moon in Gemini regarding your partnerships. For Capricorn, this new moon in Gemini is happening in your 6th house of health, of day-to-day, of lifestyle, of routines, of work, your day-to-day schedules, things that you do in a regular, consistent sort of way. So this could be new ideas about how you want to approach your health, or new ideas about how you want to arrange your schedule, new communications on a day-to-day basis. It may be that you change something about the way that you communicate on a daily basis. Some of you may speak on the phone and you're changing it to email, or it can take many different forms. But Gemini is usually about the conveyance of information, and this is a new idea about something that you do on a daily basis. This is also new ideas about health habits. Sixth house is also health, as well as our day-to-day routines and schedules. Or this could be a new idea about what you want your schedule to be like. This could be a new diet and exercise regime, new ideas of like, oh, I want to try this out. And so whatever you begin now, Capricorn, it's supported over the next 6 months to grow and nurture that. And then you might see some nice results by the full moon in Gemini for whatever you implement now and nurture. Think of it as a garden where if you plant the seeds now and continue to water it and nurture it, that plant will be very healthy at the end of 6 months. So that's something that you could really make some improvements in your sixth house of work, day-to-day routines, schedule, and health. So implement that now, Capricorn. Look for those results in 6 months. And explore any new ideas you have regarding health or diet or lifestyle, schedule, work, routine. All of that's featured for you right now. For Aquarius, this new moon in Gemini is happening in your fifth house of love, of play, romance, creativity. All those are featured for you right now. And new moon in Gemini is new ideas, new thoughts about the type of person that you may be attracted to or have a romance with, a new thought or idea about true love, about partnership, about just being open and playful. Maybe your old way of doing things hasn't been working for you, so you want a new way. You want a new idea there. And new moon in Gemini is supporting that. It's saying there's new romance available to you. It's a new beginning of a true love relationship. It's new creativity that comes along with that. Fifth house is the house of creativity. So it's new personal expression. So you've got new ideas bubbling up to the surface, Aquarius, about who could be your true love, who could be a romance, who could assist you maybe in a creative project, or it might just be a new idea about a creative project that you want to put forth. You may be really inspired during this new moon in Gemini and thinking new love, new romance, true love, creative expression. Those are all working together in your fifth house. And if you plant those seeds now, Aquarius, you can see some nice development and progress over the next 6 months of that when we get the full moon in Gemini. So enjoy those new little shoots that are coming up to the surface, Aquarius. For Pisces, this new moon in Gemini is happening in your fourth house of the home. So some of you may be having new ideas about where you want to live. New things coming into the home, like a new person or new actual physical things. But mostly because it's Gemini, I'm getting, Pisces, that this is new ideas about the home. So new ideas about where you want to live, or new ideas about what you want to do with the current place that you live. So it's some new, fresh, vital, fun energy, and it's new communication about the home. So it's all your fourth house. Some of you, it's going to be becoming a new parent over the next 6 months, because fourth house is also the house of parenting, but it's generally the house of the home. So a new addition to the home, new decor, new ideas. You might be going around your house and saying, I want to change that. I want to bring some fresh energy into the house, or I want a new house entirely. I want a new home. I want to go somewhere new. That's new moon in Gemini, new ideas about the home, and something new coming in. So enjoy that, Pisces. Watch the developments of that over the next 6 months until we get the full moon in Gemini. You might see some nice results for that. In fact, I would say write down your intentions during this new moon in Gemini about home and what new things you'd like to bring in or create, and watch that happen over the course of the next 6 months as you nurture it and water that seed. For Aries, this new moon in Gemini is happening in your third house, which is the home of Gemini. So lots of new ideas, especially about communication, about socializing. I'm actually getting, Aries, it's a great time to socialize, to go to parties, to talk about your ideas, to convey information, all those Gemini themes. It's almost like Gemini is sparkling for you over here with this new moon. And because it's your third house of communication, I'm getting that some of you are going to foster a new way of communicating. If you communicate in one way, it may be a time to revitalize that. It may be a new channel of communication. For example, if some of you always text, you may end up calling people or speaking with the voice. You know, Gemini represents the throat chakra, with communicating with that voice. Speaking, DJ, public speaking. For some of you, Aries, it might be a way of showing up in terms of how you communicate. So it could be social media, a new way of participating with that. It could be developing a new lecture series where you're on stage lecturing, new communication, new thoughts. And along with that is socializing and expressing words. So this might be a great time for new ideas for a book that you want to put out, Aries, or new thoughts, new words that are coming out that you want to share with others. Anything to do with writing is highly featured. Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, and you've got new moon in Gemini in the house of Gemini. So your words are going to be very potent, very vital. It's in time, Aries, where you can focus on new communication, new way of speaking, new way of sharing information, and all those new ideas that you're going to be getting around this time. Start planting those seeds, Aries, because you can see some nice developments over the course of the next 6 months until we get the full moon in Gemini, and you can see some nice results from that. For Taurus, we've got this new moon in Gemini happening in your second house of possessions, of assets, of money, and the body. So this is new ideas, about money, new ideas about possessions and assets, new communication. So you may be thinking about some new things that you want to bring to yourself during this time, Taurus. It may be new insights of like, I've always wanted this thing, but now I know how to get it. I have a new idea of how I want to interact with my body. I have a new image of how I think about my body. That's second house. New communication about possessions, assets, or money, a new way that you think about it, and then that you speak about it as well. So for some of you, it could be like speaking about money, talking over your finances with someone else. That's new ideas, getting new ideas about management of those things. Possessions, assets, money, body is all second house Taurus themes. So anything that you're getting new ideas regarding those themes, it's a good time to do that. It's a good time to plant new seeds. And watch that develop over the course of the next 6 months. And you may see some nice results by the full moon in Gemini 6 months from now. So if you've got new ideas about your body, your assets, your possessions, or your money, now is a good time to share that information, to talk about it, to implement those new ideas, write down those new ideas, Taurus, maybe assets or possessions you want to draw to, financial goals, and watch that happen over the next 6 months. This is really, as the moon increases, so does the energy of what you're putting out there. So that's my reading for everyone for this new moon in Gemini. New way of thinking for everyone in the area of wherever this new moon falls for you. So I just want to say thank you so much to everyone for watching. I love all of my stars, and I really appreciate all the comments and feedback I get from all of you. You all make it worth it. And I will look forward to the next reading with you. As always, thanks for watching. Yours in the stars.